Hi, welcome back to another video. In the previous time lapse for this post, I had integrated both assets into the same project file. And so here on the screen now you can see that I've integrated the cube in with the X particles. But prior to this, whenever I was in the time lapse video, whenever I was trying to render it all together, I was only seeing the cube and I wasn't seeing the X particles in there at all, and I didn't know why, and it's kind of puzzling me a bit. So after a bit of time and re-adding the X particles null a couple times from the other scene, I found out why, and it was actually to do with being on here, looking at the settings and seeing that X particles was enabled. And also I've just noticed that object glow isn't enabled. But yeah, going back to this, X particles wasn't enabled, and I've just realised as well that object glow isn't enabled as well. So I'll turn that back on, put it up there. On physical again, got low. And yeah, that's kind of resolved that for me. So this is the I don't know what just changed there. That's kind of just resolved everything for me. I'm just playing around now with the emission, obviously because the toruses, sorry, should I say, because there's two, one there and one there. They were quite small and they were just poking out the edges here, so I've had to pull everything back and basically just change the emission. So turn it back down to 500. I've increased the speed slightly, even though I didn't want to. I've had to. And then also I've played around with the particle speed. I've turned that up so that the particles spread more. And now if I go back and let this play through, so the particles emit slowly, they move slowly, and if I stop on from 90, it will take a little bit of time to render out. However, if I just zoom in quick on, zoom in quick, get a bit of that in the corner, render that out. Now that these objects should glow slightly. But yeah, with the object glow, the X particles enabled, these will now be able to self-illuminate because you've got the specular light up top. These will be able to self-illuminate, and also with the particle speed in the XP speed modifier being at 7, these particles will be allowed to spread up to a higher rate. So before, it was, the particle speed was down at 2 centimeters, so they were hovering about just up to about here where the cursor is, and they weren't going much further. And then obviously as the lifespan of the particles, this has also been increased as well. That was down at about 50, and by the time they got to about up here, 50 frames had passed, and they were dying basically, the particles. So yeah, I'm not going to bother to render it. I'll provide some renders below. However, now that these are both integrated, the main specular light is up here. I'll just relabel that. And I'll drop that inside of the X particles null, because that's for the X particle system. Now that's rendered, the main thing now will be doing small adjustments. I'm going to make another post soon about adding some fog, because I think it will need it. However, if I turn the sphere on, this should, I'll produce a couple final renders on a nice setting to hopefully give you a good look as to what the final thing might look like. So thanks very much, and I shall see you soon.